The motorcycle industry is heading toward an exciting moment in 2026. A wave of rumors suggests that several manufacturers are preparing new models that blend iconic names with next-generation engineering. Honda is believed to be bringing back the legendary VFR, this time with a modern V4 configuration. Yamaha, on the other hand, is rumored to be experimenting with a V4-powered R1, drawing inspiration directly from MotoGP technology. Suzuki is also in the conversation, with talk of a new GSX 500R designed to strengthen its position in the middleweight sportbike category. Kawasaki may not be standing still either. Speculation points to the return of a compact GPZ 125R alongside a refreshed Eliminator 250 aimed at practical, everyday cruising. With so many rumors circulating, the big question remains: which of these motorcycles will actually reach production in 2026? Let's break them down. Honda VFR V4. For a long time, it seemed like Honda had completely closed the chapter on one of its most iconic engine layouts. While the motorcycle world moved on to parallel twin engines and electric platforms, the V4 engine seemed to simply fade into history. But behind the scenes, something unexpected was happening. Recently discovered patent documents indicate that Honda wasn't just experimenting, it was actively developing an entirely new V4 engine. And for longtime fans, this raises one major possibility: the return of the legendary VFR 1200 nameplate. Honda's relationship with V4 engines dates back to the 1980s. Their smooth power delivery, mechanical refinement, and unique riding characteristics made these engines special. But for years, Honda seemed to shy away from V4 street motorcycles altogether. That silence has now been broken. What the patent shows isn't a simple update or a recycled design. This is a V4 engine built from the ground up, with modern priorities in mind. One key point is internal efficiency. Honda redesigned the lubrication system, shortening the oil lines and integrating them directly into the engine block to reduce friction and improve long-term durability. Cooling also receives serious attention. The rear cylinders on V engines often struggle to cope with heat due to restricted airflow, and Honda addressed this directly. By routing the coolant pipes through the inner V-shaped corners between the cylinders, heat management became much more effective, a testament to the project being driven by engineering intent, not just nostalgia. Visually and structurally, the new V4 appears sleeker and more compact than the previous VFR 1200 engine. This is significant, as the old model was often criticized for its size and weight. If this design reaches production, it could allow Honda to build a V4 motorcycle that feels lighter, sharper, and much more modern. Another major change lies in the drivetrain. Unlike the shaft drive of the old VFR 1200, this new setup uses a chain. That single change strongly suggests a more aggressive riding focus, emphasizing performance and rider engagement over touring comfort. So when can we expect to see it on the road? With a patent filed in 2024 and only recently published, mass production appears to be years away. But one thing is for sure, this is no ordinary concept. Honda is clearly planning something serious. This isn't just about reviving the past. It's about redefining what a modern Honda V4 looks like. The real question isn't whether Honda can build another V4, but how long we'll have to wait before it finally returns. Yamaha R1 V4. The high-performance supersport segment is no longer standing still. It's approaching a moment of transformation, and Yamaha appears to be right at the center of it. Strong industry signals and persistent leaks suggest that the legendary Yamaha YZF-R1 may be preparing for a dramatic evolution, one that could redefine its identity entirely. At the heart of this potential rebirth lies a bold possibility: a V4-powered R1. For Yamaha, change at this level is never accidental. The R1 has always been more than just a flagship superbike. It has been a statement of philosophy. Rather than chasing raw numbers, Yamaha traditionally focused on harmony between machine and rider, precision, balance, and control over brute force. But the world surrounding supersport motorcycles has shifted. Emissions standards are tightening, Development budgets are under pressure, and modern riders demand machines that feel race-ready without becoming intimidating or impractical on real roads. In this environment, standing still is no longer an option. That is why the idea of a V4-powered R1 no longer feels like fantasy. It feels inevitable. Yamaha's racing DNA has always shaped its road bikes, and MotoGP continues to serve as the brand's most advanced laboratory. Recent technical developments strongly suggest Yamaha is actively experimenting with a V4 configuration at the racing level. History shows that when Yamaha commits to a major engineering shift in MotoGP, that technology rarely stays confined to the track for long. From an engineering perspective, a V4 layout brings meaningful advantages. Compared to an inline-4, it allows tighter packaging, improved mass centralization, and a distinct power delivery profile. For the rider, this could mean stronger mid-range performance, increased stability during hard acceleration, and greater confidence when pushing at high speeds. Qualities that matter more today than peak horsepower figures alone. If the R1 truly transitions to a V4 platform, the transformation would be comprehensive. The chassis would likely be re-engineered around the new engine layout. Aerodynamics could become sharper and more functional, focusing on downforce and stability rather than visual aggression alone. Electronics would play an even bigger role, with highly refined traction control, slide control, engine braking systems, and predictive rider aids working together to extract performance without overwhelming the rider. This direction aligns closely with where the global supersport market is heading. Manufacturers are prioritizing consistency, efficiency, and rideability. Not just machines that look fast on paper, but feel controllable at the limit. Still, such a move carries undeniable risk. The R1's identity is deeply tied to its cross-plane inline-4 engine, a configuration beloved by longtime fans for its sound and character. Abandoning that formula could polarize opinions, yet at the same time, embracing a V4 could open the door to a new generation of riders who expect modern engineering, MotoGP-derived solutions, and future-proof performance. Kawasaki Eliminator 250. In recent years, the motorcycle industry has been shaped by aggressive sport bikes and multi-purpose adventure machines. Yet quietly, another category is regaining attention: the cruiser. Not because of extreme speed or peak power, but because riders are once again valuing comfort, style, and an easygoing riding experience. Heading into 2026, Kawasaki appears to be leaning strongly into this shift. The release of the Eliminator 400 marked a clear turning point. It showcased Kawasaki's renewed commitment to relaxed, approachable motorcycles, and quickly became the cornerstone of a growing Eliminator lineup, proving that the cruiser formula still resonates with riders worldwide. Now focus is beginning to move toward a smaller sibling, the Kawasaki Eliminator 250, expected for the 2026 model year. Many see this model as Kawasaki's answer to the Honda Rebel 250, but with a personality that stays true to Kawasaki's own design and engineering philosophy. Visually, the Eliminator 250 is expected to blend classic cruiser cues with modern simplicity. A low saddle, wide bars, and a laid-back riding position should make it welcoming for newer riders, while still offering the stability and comfort needed for daily commuting. If accurate, this approach could make the Eliminator 250 one of the most distinctive cruisers in its segment, combining an easygoing ride with Kawasaki's unmistakable performance heritage. Power would likely be channeled through a 6-speed gearbox paired with an assist and slipper clutch, ensuring light lever feel, smooth gear changes, and stress-free control in everyday riding. In terms of technology, Kawasaki is expected to keep things modern but practical. A digital instrument cluster, full LED lighting, and ABS braking are all likely to be standard. With the Eliminator 400 already established and the Eliminator 250 positioned as a more accessible entry point, Kawasaki appears to be building a well-planned and serious cruiser range. If these rumors come to life, the 2026 Kawasaki Eliminator 250 won't simply compete with the Honda Rebel. It may redefine expectations for small displacement cruisers, focused on simplicity, comfort, and a character that is unmistakably Kawasaki. In 2026, Formula 73, Ducati is drawing worldwide attention once again, but not through a dramatic unveiling or teaser campaign. Instead, the spotlight comes from an unexpected source, a regulatory filing. Recent documents submitted to the California Air Resources Board list a previously unseen model name scheduled for the 2026 model year, Ducati Formula 73. What makes this discovery intriguing is where the name appears. Formula 73 is listed alongside familiar models such as the Scrambler and Scrambler Full Throttle. Yet it notably does not carry the Scrambler designation. This detail alone suggests that Formula 73 may represent an entirely separate model, rather than a simple extension of Ducati's existing retro lineup. From a mechanical perspective, industry speculation points toward Ducati's well-known 803 cubic centimeter air-cooled V-twin engine. This platform has already proven its reliability, torque-rich delivery, and everyday usability across multiple models. However, the distinctive name indicates that Ducati may be preparing something with a different design language and market positioning. Ducati's recent product strategy adds more weight to this theory. Over the past few years, the brand has leaned heavily into heritage-inspired motorcycles, successfully blending nostalgia with modern performance and technology. This approach has resonated strongly with riders worldwide, making Formula 73 a likely continuation of that philosophy. The name itself appears far from random. Many believe Formula 73 is a direct reference to the iconic 1973 Ducati 750 Supersport Desmo, a machine that played a defining role in Ducati's racing legacy and brand identity. If this connection is intentional, Formula 73 could emerge as a heritage-driven sport motorcycle, potentially featuring classic proportions, retro bodywork, or even a semi-faired silhouette inspired by Ducati's golden racing era. The timing could not be more fitting. The year 2026 marks Ducati's 100th anniversary, making it an ideal moment to introduce a model that honors the company's past while showcasing modern engineering. So far, Ducati has remained silent regarding official specifications, pricing, or production details. Still, the presence of Formula 73 in official emissions documentation strongly suggests that this motorcycle is more than just a concept. It's a project moving steadily toward reality. Suzuki GSX 500R. The middleweight sport bike scene is entering a new and unexpected phase, not because of extreme horsepower numbers, but because the 500cc class is finally becoming important again. What was once seen as a secondary segment has now turned into a strategic battleground. And within this shift, one name continues to appear quietly: Suzuki GSX 500R. There has been no official announcement. Instead, the bike has emerged through leaks, supplier discussions, and industry rumors spreading from Asia to Europe. While Suzuki remains silent, multiple sources suggest a new fully faired sport bike is being prepared for the 2026 model year, designed to fill a key gap in Suzuki's lineup. This naturally raises questions. Is the GSX 500R real? Will Suzuki revive a four-cylinder engine? And who is this bike actually meant to compete with? To answer that, we need to look at Suzuki's current direction. In recent years, Suzuki has moved away from chasing extreme performance figures. Their focus has shifted toward efficient, globally viable platforms, motorcycles that balance usability, cost, and performance. The GSX 8R clearly reflects this philosophy, and many believe the GSX 500R will follow the same approach in a more accessible class. Early rumors pointed to a four-cylinder engine, which sparked excitement due to Suzuki's strong inline-four heritage. Emotionally, it makes sense, but from a business perspective, the reality is different. Developing a new four-cylinder 500cc engine today is expensive and complicated, especially under modern emissions regulations. This is where Suzuki's long-standing partnership with Haojue in China becomes important. Haojue is not just a manufacturing partner, but a technical collaborator behind several Suzuki platforms. According to Asian industry reports, the GSX 500R may come from a joint 500cc project intended for global markets. If that's true, the engine choice becomes logical. A parallel twin. It's lighter, more efficient, easier to certify worldwide, and aligns with current industry trends. Even so, the GSX 500R remains interesting because of its potential position in the market. If released, it would inevitably be compared to the Kawasaki ZX4R, a modern four-cylinder sport bike that is fast, aggressive, and emotionally driven. But it's also expensive and more performance-focused than many riders actually need. The GSX 500R could offer an alternative, calmer, more practical, and more affordable. This wouldn't be a battle of speed, it would be a battle of philosophies. And if Honda eventually introduces a CBR 504, as rumored, the 500cc class could transform completely. Three Japanese brands, three very different ideas of what a sport bike should be. In that landscape, Suzuki doesn't need to chase extremes. A balanced, character-driven sport bike could be exactly what many riders want. For now, nothing is official, no confirmed specs, no engine details, and no release date. But strategically, the 2026 Suzuki GSX 500R makes sense. And if it does arrive, the 500cc class may never look the same again. Kawasaki GPZ 125R. What if Kawasaki chose to bring back one of its most iconic names? Not as a high-powered superbike, but as a modern, approachable sport motorcycle. Heading into 2026, that question leads to an intriguing idea. The Kawasaki GPZ 125R. Long before the Ninja name defined Kawasaki's sport lineup, the GPZ badge represented speed, attitude, and aggressive design. It was a symbol of Kawasaki's early sport bike identity, raw, focused, and unmistakably bold. But the motorcycle world has evolved. Today, success isn't measured solely by horsepower figures. Accessibility, efficiency, and global relevance matter more than ever, especially in the 125 cubic centimeter class, which remains vital across Asia and Europe. And this is exactly where the GPZ 125R concept begins to feel relevant. Rather than being a retro revival or a direct Ninja competitor, the GPZ 125R could carve out its own space. A lightweight, sport-oriented machine that carries the spirit of the original GPZ, but is engineered for modern riders and real-world use. Imagine a fully fared 125cc sport bike with sharp yet clean styling. Sporty without being intimidating. Aggressive in appearance, but practical enough for everyday riding. Power would likely come from a modern liquid-cooled single-cylinder 125 cubic centimeter engine, focused on smooth power delivery, strong mid-range performance, and excellent fuel efficiency, fully compliant with current emissions regulations. The riding position would strike a careful balance between sport and comfort, making it ideal for new riders, city commuters, and young enthusiasts who want the look and feel of a sport bike without extreme speed or complexity. Technology would remain straightforward and purposeful. A digital instrument cluster, LED lighting, ABS, and a slipper clutch as standard. Nothing excessive, nothing unnecessary. What would truly define the GPZ 125R is its character. Instead of chasing lap times or peak performance numbers, this bike would prioritize rider confidence, daily usability, and a genuine connection between rider and machine. Qualities often overlooked in modern entry-level sport bikes. In 2026, a motorcycle like this would align perfectly with Kawasaki's global strategy. Affordable, efficient, and appealing to a wide audience. The middleweight sport bike scene is entering a new and unexpected phase, not because of extreme horsepower numbers, but because the 500cc class is finally becoming important again. What was once seen as a secondary segment has now turned into a strategic battleground. And within this shift, one name continues to appear quietly: Suzuki GSX 500R. There has been no official announcement. Instead, the bike has emerged through leaks, supplier discussions, and industry rumors spreading from Asia to Europe. While Suzuki remains silent, multiple sources suggest a new fully fared sport bike is being prepared for the 2026 model year, designed to fill a key gap in Suzuki's lineup. This naturally raises questions. Is the GSX 500R real? Will Suzuki revive a four-cylinder engine? And who is this bike actually meant to compete with? To answer that, we need to look at Suzuki's current direction. In recent years, Suzuki has moved away from chasing extreme performance figures. Their focus has shifted toward efficient, globally viable platforms, motorcycles that balance usability, cost, and performance. The GSX 8R clearly reflects this philosophy, and many believe the GSX 500R will follow the same approach in a more accessible class. Early rumors pointed to a four-cylinder engine, which sparked excitement due to Suzuki's strong inline-four heritage. Emotionally, it makes sense, but from a business perspective, the reality is different. Developing a new four-cylinder 500cc engine today is expensive and complicated, especially under modern emissions regulations. This is where Suzuki's long-standing partnership with Haojue in China becomes important. Haojue is not just a manufacturing partner, but a technical collaborator behind several Suzuki platforms. According to Asian industry reports, the GSX 500R may come from a joint 500cc project intended for global markets. If that's true, the engine choice becomes logical, a parallel twin. It's lighter, more efficient, easier to certify worldwide, and aligns with current industry trends. Even so, the GSX 500R remains interesting because of its potential position in the market. If released, it would inevitably be compared to the Kawasaki ZX4R, a modern four-cylinder sport bike that is fast, aggressive, and emotionally driven. But it's also expensive and more performance-focused than many riders actually need. The GSX 500R could offer an alternative, calmer, more practical, and more affordable. This wouldn't be a battle of speed, it would be a battle of philosophies. And if Honda eventually introduces a CBR 504, as rumored, the 500cc class could transform completely. Three Japanese brands, three very different ideas of what a sport bike should be. In that landscape, Suzuki doesn't need to chase extremes. A balanced, character-driven sport bike could be exactly what many riders want. For now, nothing is official, no confirmed specs, no engine details, and no release date. But strategically, the 2026 Suzuki GSX 500R makes sense. And if it does arrive, the 500cc class may never look the same again.